to see me.
I really do not need a frozen computer right now. Okay, good. All right. Get her going. Everybody got a hat and all their goodies?
Fine.
Oh, we're streaming and I'm actually talking. I haven't started the screen. Let's go to the Wilder screen and then we'll come back. Is everybody ready? Here we go. We're going to the
There we go.
Going to the Wilder screen. And here we are. Welcome to the Wilders game. Here are all the Wilders. Say hello.
Hello.
All right. We haven't been around for the last couple of weeks. One of those weeks was because we had a gig on a Wednesday, late Wednesday, that was going to preclude us. And then I was down with a cold last week. I still got a little bit of a sniffle, but I'm up and ready to go. So we are going to pick up right where we left off. So this is going back 3 weeks ago. We finished a sky battle that we had with some Viking longships. Now, for those of you that are not used to our game, if this is your first time watching us, I'm going to do our usual real quick intro, and we're going to do our intros around the table too. My name is Dave Wildson. This is the Wilders game. It is a homebrew D&D game. Role-playing game, and it's called the Wilders game because the group around the table are the Wilders. These are everybody. Say hello again, Wilders.
Hello again, Wilders.
Wilders is a derogatory term, partially used for people from the world of Earth that have found themselves accidentally transplanted to another magical world called the world of Aerra, and they have a lot of magical power there, more magical power than most of the other magic users in Aerra, but they don't have good control of it. So it tends to be wild magic, and it's dangerous, and it causes a lot of problems. So a lot of the people of the world of Aerra are very leery of them. These guys are outlaws from the 1890s, and they are now strangers in a strange land, to quote Heinlein. And so we're going to go around, we're going to say hello to them and find out who they are, starting on my left as usual with Mr. Thaddeus Poindexter. Hello, sir.
Hello, my name is Ian Little, and I am portraying Dr. Thaddeus Poindexter of Williamsburg. Yes, I have come a very long way. But since I have come here, I have learned that there is a tyrant overseeing these lands, a tyrant who has brought shame upon my family name.
A tyrant.
A tyrant. He has brought shame upon my family name. He is calling himself the Iron Fist, but what he's got is not a fist. A misshapen mound of molten metal is not a fist. And if any of you are standing out there feeling alone and fed up with his tyranny, know that you are not alone. Pronus cum clava ferius. Down with the Iron Club.
I was kind of curious. Yeah,
thank you for your time.
I was kind of curious, Thaddeus. You've got pretty strong feelings about this individual. Is this somebody you've known a long time in your life, or?
When he was alive, he was my father's younger brother.
Ah. Well, that would be, wasn't that, he was a naval commander, right? Jensen Poindexter?
In life, yes.
Oh, I see.
He was a very good commander. In life, not so sure about now.
And now what? Who is he now? I mean, he's a tyrant. Who does he work for? Do you remember?
Somebody called Saint Iago. That's what he's known around here.
Who's the main big bad guy in our campaign?
Yes, but my focus is on the Iron Club.
All right. We're going to go to Josephine. Hey, Josephine, don't worry. You don't need any Oscar performances like Thaddeus. Just tell us all about yourself, your character, and you.
Hi, I'm Josephine Smith. I'm played by Amanda. I am a sharpshooter. I am hella handy with my whippity whips or my pew pews and my whippity whip. I have a companion who is a 6 foot tall dire wolf who's named Bear. He is the most amazing companion anyone could ever ask for. And yeah, I'm pretty sassy out there, and due to my former life of being a show shooter, I tend to put on a bit of a dramatic
An extravaganza.
of pew-pewing everywhere when I get the chance. So,
And a fine job you do.
oh, thank you.
Indeed, you do.
Thank you.
Okay, shall we go to you, Madam Lavinia?
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
really
what
quickly,
else?
really quickly. Just want to say hi to Sugar and Brother Silva,
Yay!
Sugarberries,
Yay.
and the Pink Captain. Hello.
Hey, guys.
Hello,
everybody.
welcome. So glad you're here. My name is Madame Lavinia. In real life, my name is Janice, and I am married to the game master down at
Yes,
the
hello.
other end of the games table. I am a healer. I am a fortune teller. However, during my life, I was raised from the influence of my grandmother. And for some unfortunate curse, her soul became trapped within her skull. She still has the ability to transmit thoughts and guidance and that type of thing. So it always looks a little odd with me carrying around the skull, but it's my grandma. I love her. Anyways, we look forward to carrying on.
I don't think that any of the other Wilders think it's creepy at all that you carry your grandmother's skull around with you and
We
talk
have-
to it on a
know,
regular basis.
We have become accustomed to it.
You're all used to it.
Used to it,
Customed
and
to her face.
it just bizarre things happen all the time to us. So yeah, we're not fazed by anything nowadays. It
We're
seems like.
faced.
I think it's super fun. All right. Anything else? Shall we go on to
No,
Mr.
please.
Mr. Percival Red Feather? How are you, sir?
I am Percival Redfeather, and I have lost my brother. To the wild ride he joined, and his commissioning to me was to hunt down Santiago and slay him with the black arrows and the black bow that I was
Who's
given.
commissioning to you?
I was commissioned by the Lord of Shadows, who leads the wild ride,
One.
the wild hunt. And yes, he gave me these traits, but also he helped me escape from an evil, vengeful spirit of a tiger who inhabits me from time to time when I become enraged. That tiger being,
Oh, is that your Tiger Mini?
that's my tiger mini. Yes, indeed.
There you go.
So
Cool. And you have a mask right behind you
I
on
do.
the wall.
I
That's the
do
one
have
you
a mask
wear
behind me on the wall.
when whenever you get cursed and the curse takes over, you become the tiger.
I become a weird tiger.
There we go.
Yes, and enhanced strength and durability is the trade-off for my reduced temper.
For the folks at home, they may be wondering about the mask. Why the mask if he becomes a tiger? Well, that's how he ended up with the curse of the weird tiger in the first place, was that he put a cursed mask on his large Percy Feather Red Feather mug, and it stuck there. So, it's kind of a little shout back to the great old movie, The Mask.
Yeah, I love
kind of
that
happened
mask.
in our actual game.
Now we know if we find strange masks, we don't put them on.
Do not put strange masks on your face.
This is a learning moment. Okay, let's go
What
on
did we
to our
learn?
resident wizard. Hello, Mr. Alexium.
Good day. I'm Glenn the Valley. I play Raven Alexium, the squishy wizard, and I have a familiar. Her name is Drema, and she talks to me. And I can't remember any of my backstory, so I think the big guy, we have to kill him because he's my grandfather. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's true. That's
right.
correct. The
And
big Santiago is in fact your grandfather.
There we go. See? And I have an affinity towards fire, and I'm generally like a glass cannon, so I hide behind the tiger guy and let him take the shots while I fling things from afar.
and
Like a
does
good wizard.
very well at it.
So we have some of the backstory, which we've got now years of backstory for ourselves in this game. We have some of that on our website, wildermage.com, WYLDERMAGE.com. We've got some of the backstory on there, not all of it. As time goes on, and if I ever have, a staff that I can task to do these things, I'll get that story updated so that you got a better understanding of the things that R1, Lord of the Shadow Realm, who commissioned them in this mission, told all of them about their own histories. Each one of them has a blood debt, a family blood debt to R1 and to this world to try and rid it of the scourge of Santiago, the evil warlock, who is himself also a wilder who came from Earth to Aerra, but he came for nefarious reasons.
He has daughters too, doesn't
And
he?
he has daughters. He has got, his third daughter was actually Raven Alexium's mother. His other two daughters, his two oldest daughters, who are twins, they are two of his henchmen.
So was your mother an evil one like they are?
She was a saint. She married into bad blood. Or he was taken over is probably more accurate and corrupted as a soul.
Yeah, so all of that happened. Raven Alexium's mother remained on Earth, but the other two girls disappeared with their father, or was disappeared by their father and corrupted by him, and are his two main sorceresses in this world.
So was he originally on Earth and then transported to Aerra,
Yes, that is
Yes.
exactly correct.
sharing with everybody?
Because he was the husband of Raven's grandmother, Marie Laveau, who was the voodoo queen. Correct?
That is
Is that
true.
the right name? I get it right?
Sounds good.
We
to
have
me.
so much lore that we need a program for our own story. We don't remember all this stuff.
We got like 6 movies going on. At least.
Yeah, we could do
At
six
least
movies.
6
We
movies
could.
out of this.
Can
Anybody
everyone?
Yeah, just one about the snails, the huge slime acid snail. That would be a great one. And
Can oh, sorry.
Yeah.
the puck rabies.
Can everyone say hi to Pete? Hi, Pete.
Hi,
Oh, Pete's here.
Pete.
Hey, Pete.
Yay!
That's my good buddy. A big shout out to my good buddy Peter Miro, who is watching us from near the town of Three Hills, Alberta.
Somewhere near the town of Three Hills.
Let's pick up the story. Any other things you guys want to talk about? There is one other thing I want to talk about before we pick up the story, and that's going to be minis. But any other things you guys want to share before that? Going on the table? You're all good. You're all good. You're all good. You're all good. Okay. So 1 second, and we're going to start. For those that remember, a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I talked about my mini vault, which I can't put it on camera because it's a big black vault, but it is totally working. Let me show you. Check this out. Yeah.
Ah,
Clever.
You see, I have drawers and drawers and drawers of these now. I have like 4 or 5 racks of these. And because they are all now magnetized on the bottom, just like this guy, because they've all got a little tiny magnet on the bottom, they stay in place. They don't fall over. They don't break anymore. I don't lose them. And they just need to be now sorted into their categories. So I can find stuff really quick. If we have, for example, a random encounter, and you encounter, in this case, I mean, it could be skeletons, it could be wolves, it could be kobolds. If you had a random
Your
encounter, I could
microphone
just grab them and
is,
put it on.
hiding it.
What's that?
Your
Microphone is hiding it.
Hold it.
Oop.
Hold it on your other shoulder for better.
Oh, there we
effect.
go. There we go. Yeah, yeah.
How's that?
Much better.
So
That's quite the
just
assortment.
depending on what my players encounter or when we're going to look for something that we prepared. Notice how beautiful they all are. That would be because they were all painted by Mr. Ian Little, who is our Thaddeus Poindexter, and he is done a great job of painting them. I 3D printed a bunch of these, and Rob 3D printed a bunch of these. That's why we got everybody to do the sanding that I asked for. I'll be back. Sorry, I'll be back in a sec.
Our friend the Pink Captain is painting minis for everyone as well.
Ooh.
So that's why I asked everybody to do the sanding, and we should show off just a couple more right now because we got so many new ones that look amazing. So I'm going to do that right now. We're going to start. We'll save the best for last. Actually, we'll save the best for last. I noticed that this guy showed up. When did this guy show up? This was a surprise.
designed that. I built that in Blender.
You did?
Yes, from
Oh
various
my
and
God.
sundry assorted pieces from other figurines which I stole and assembled together into that clever looking.
So this is Marduk, right?
that is Marduk.
Oh,
Wow.
this is freaking brilliant. Here,
Yes.
let me just do this so you can see. Here he is, Captain.
Can
Of
you
the
put him
ship?
beside a regular
A
size
regular figure. Oh
All
yes,
right.
yes.
Yeah,
Oh, here's Percy.
Marduk.
Yeah,
Percy.
beside me.
Marduk is a 16-foot giant.
16-foot giant. Yeah. So
I am going. Let me see if I can.
And he's
I don't
the
want to
captain
drop
of the
anybody.
ship that we're on.
yeah, yeah. He's huge.
So there
Awesome.
is.
So there you go.
There's the size of Percy in our game, and the
Looks so
size of
good.
Marduk.
Just look
in
on that
our
one
game.
right there.
Can't see through his head.
So that is pretty awesome right there.
He's also going to pass it around.
And we're going to be putting it on the table because you are actually with Marduk right now in the game. Here, we'll pass that around so that you guys can have a look. Here is Percy. You put Percy back on the table. Here, I'll give him to you, Ian.
He's awesome.
And we're going to get a couple more out. This guy will be this guy's our head
Right.
bad guy, right? This was the head bad guy that
That
Marduk
was the
was
head
fighting?
bad guy. Yeah, yeah.
So I forget, did we ever give the bad guy in this particular encounter a name?
I don't think we did.
I don't know if we did in the encounter, but I love the fact, check this out. He's got a Windwolf cloak on.
Yep.
You did a perfect job.
Right.
Look, Ian did a perfect job. Rob designed this, and Ian did a great job of doing the cloak on him. It looks really
You're being
good.
acknowledged.
Yes,
right
I altered his perceptions quite drastically to enhance the gigantism of him.
Yeah, don't do that again. It's harder to paint. There's no details.
God,
Don't do that again.
I shall refrain.
So he's pretty great. There's a couple others, but we're going to save some of them that are not in our story right now. Let me see what else we got.
You have a
The ship looks so
velociraptor.
small compared
With
to
Marduk. Yeah.
And now we have our Velociraptor. There's our Velociraptor.
He's the
All
star
done
of
up
our
now. And he's big too. How big is he? I mean, he's a
looks like
jumbo
8 foot.
Velociraptor. I guess
I
better
think
give
he's
me.
an 8-footer. Yeah, he's 8 foot. 8 or
That's
9
okay.
foot.
That's
8 or
all
9
right.
foot.
No?
Yeah,
That's not bad. So he's going to be our Velociraptor in the game. I might as well keep this one guy until we finish this. And we have
Is that Bear? Hi, Bear.
dun dun dun. Look at that big black dire wolf. I want to see how he compares, and I do believe that's pretty much perfect. There is Bear, and he looks
He
fabulous.
tried to find the good boy.
There
Yes.
you go.
When I was painting him, when I was painting his eyes, I did the typical brown eyes and stuff, and then I did a clear coat with some glitter. So if the light catches it just right, it's like his eyes are glowing in the dark.
Cool.
Oh. And he has nipples.
Well, that's for Romulus and Remus, dear.
So we have a lot of other really great little ones. Some of these, I want to do a shout out to some of the Patreon artists. If you don't know it, there are wonderful artists on Patreon who make custom design 3D minis, just the way Rob had cobbled together this wonderful Marduk we had from a number of different models. In this case, minis like this are made by 3D artists who design the STL files that we print. I made this guy about 5 years ago, and he's a wonderful little dwarf. So we want to give a shout out to those guys. This is for... This comes if you can usually buy them individually, but if you support an artist and he's He's making every month a whole series of minis around a theme. This was an artist that I supported who did dwarves in one particular month, and I got a bunch of dwarves, and I just love how good they look. That's enough of that for now, because otherwise we're never going to get on with our awesome game. Here is Percy. I'll give you guys back Percy to put back on his thing, and we will get on with it. We like to use minis on the table because there are a couple of things that, even though we may use
do a table view?
laptops, even though we may use a TV for our map screen and that kind of stuff, and even though we stream on here, we still want to have a few things about our game that are the essence of good old-fashioned Dungeons and Dragons. And so those things are our minis, our dice. We don't use paper character sheets anymore. We use electronic ones, and that works better for us. But there are a few other things that we like to do because it's the old classic stuff, and it still works with our system.
And we get together and sit around a table with each other.
And we get around and we actually do role playing, and we do the thing the right way. Okay, let's go back to our story. For those of you that are probably like, okay, shut up, Dave, and talk about the story. So here we are in the story. There was a sky ship, the Mynnior, that our Wylders were on. They were on a mission to sink a treasure ship that was being delivered as tribute to a potential ally for their enemies, the Unkta Serpent people. They succeeded in that mission, but then they ended up kind of being they weren't ambushed, but it was a very inopportune thing that a entire fleet of Viking flying ships showed up on their way to raid one of the Anua giant cities. And Marduk and his ship, it was 1 against 13. He had to turn tail and run. They ran. 3 ships followed them. They defeated those 3 ships, and they have now set a trap. So to refresh your memory on what happened at the very end of the last game, after you defeated the Viking giants, the Aesir Vikings, there were about 8 or 9 of them that got away and jumped and used their cloaks to basically float down and get away from the battle. And they're on their own fugitives somewhere on the surface of Aerra. But Marduk has now taken the bodies of the other Vikings, propped them up as mannequins on the 2 ships that you've got captured, the 2 Viking longboats that you have captured. And he has made it look as though the Mynnior has been badly damaged. It is now a captured prize of those other 2 Viking longboats. And it, of course, is a decoy. The entire thing is a decoy, as Marduk is going looking for the rest of the Viking longboat fleet, which there are 10 ships left in that fleet, because it was 3 that broke off to go after you guys. So he has got the Mynnior towed by a captured Viking longboat, the one that was the most serviceable after the battle. And he has got his sailors, as much as they can be hidden, sailing that ship and towing his ship. But his ship is fully operational, and that's where we're picking up the story. Is there anything that you guys want to say to Marduk or ask him? Because it is right at the end of the battle, and it is the end of the preparation. You are now underway. You are heading northeast in a northeasterly direction. On the last heading that Marduk and his crew knew was going to be the general direction that the fleet was sailing, and they are looking for city. Marduk tells you it is actually, he knows that the closest city to where you are is the Anua Giants floating city called Aerra. And you've actually seen Aerra once before when you ended up seeing a flying city where the clouds broke around it just after you came out one of those traveling portals up on one of those pinnacles. You remember that?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to know from Marduk if he has spoken to Quillius Quacksalver, or whether we should be reaching out to Quillius.
Okay, so Marduk says he's going to retire to his cabin for a few minutes, and he is going to try and contact Quillius now. And then he will let you know what the results of that are. He assumes that you will be also in touch with Quillius independently. Mm-hmm. And so that's what he is going to do. Other things that you guys want to do, we'll go around the table. Anything else that you want to do while he is going to do that? He, unless you got any more questions for you, he's going to go back into his cabin to see if he can contact Quillius.
Are we okay having the same sleeping arrangements that we had previous to be able to get some
I
rest?
think
and
we're
get
in
our
the cook's
spells?
quarters, right?
Yeah, you're in the cook's quarters.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm going to retrieve as many arrows as I can, and if necessary, sharpen, fix, repair arrows.
Okay. All right. It is the end of the battle, and this battle happened right in the late, well, I guess the timing, because there was a chase, it was right at dawn that you encountered the fleet of longboats, and your ship, the Mynnior, turned tail south to draw the other three ships away and set Marduk's own trap for them. That trip south, where you were being pursued by them, that took almost all of the day until the late afternoon. And that's when the battle occurred, was late afternoon. So right now it's a little bit after supper. Probably you only have about an hour of daylight left. And you were, like I said, headed on a northeasterly course. Other stuff? You guys know the time now. You know the situation, what you're doing. We know that Percy's starting to repair stuff and get other things, gather the arrows that he's
Gather
lost.
arrows.
Anything else?
And I'm going to help the crew repair things as necessary.
Yeah.
So the other thing is, do we want to schedule our discussion as to our next moves, guys, as a crew, as a group?
Well, we do need to decide what we're going to do.
That's what I'm saying.
Why don't you wait to hear from Marduk and Quillius, though?
Yeah, let's wait until we get that. So, okay.
Because that's going to happen like within the next hour.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So Marduk retires to his cabin, lets you do your stuff. You're going to be able to have a rest tonight because you're out of combat.
Okay.
And in talking to Marduk's first mate, Obaz tells Percy that he estimates that you're going to have at least a day to 2 days pursuit time to try and catch up with the Viking fleet. You don't want to go as quickly as Obaz says that Marduk and this little group of 3 ships that you have, you don't want to go at full speed. You can't because you're being towed. But the other thing is that you want to make sure that you time the arrival, if you find that fleet, when you've got allies at Eridu, and try and sandwich that fleet between the walls of Eridu and your ship attacking them from behind. You have a question?
I was just unclear whether we were going to pursue the Vikings or go to the city. It was unclear that we're doing both at the same time.
Marduk's in charge right now.
Yep.
And you guys are along for the ride. So he's basically let you know that his first priority is to try and engage once again with that fleet. He believes that it is his duty to the king of the Anua Giants, and that it is his duty, as a captain. And he's also got a lot, you don't know a lot of his history, but he's got a lot of reason to go after the Aesir.
And we're quite beholden to him because
Oh,
he
yeah.
helped us massively
yes.
in street.
And what else are you going to do? You're on his ship. It's not like you got a lot of choice.
We don't have
What-
a lot of leeway.
Oh, they've got a basket.
Okay.
Ian, the pink captain wants to say that you really do rock that top hat, and he made a comment earlier about that you changed hats. I think maybe the pink captain doesn't know that you brought a full wardrobe with you on this trip.
Yeah.
Oh, Thaddeus never goes anywhere without being prepared to be dressed appropriately to the occasion. And I assume that since we're headed to a city, one should look the part. But I thank you for your compliment.
Do you want to see if you can step back a little bit and we can see that
Oh,
suit?
yeah, got to see that suit coat. That's
Check this out,
amazing.
ladies and gentlemen, because this
That's the
is
look.
sharp.
That
Tail
is beautiful.
coat.
Doesn't that
This
look
was
good?
made by
Here, I'm going to
Ian.
go to the room cam too. Let's see if we can get anything on the room cam. Can we see him on the room cam? There we go.
Oh, yeah, there he is.
Coming
Yes,
away,
lovely,
There we go.
lovely.
Other way.
Yeah,
There we go.
Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous.
So Thaddeus, in his other life, actually made this.
Yes. Thaddeus sewed that from scratch, correct? Well, from a pattern?
An adapted pattern.
An adapted
A pattern
pattern.
that I adapted.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
It's one of his many talents. He's a many talented man. Okay. All right. So Marduk is retired to his cabin. You guys are all about your various tasks and things that you want to do, waiting to hear what the word is and what the news is. After about 2 hours, he comes back out of the cabin with a big, broad smile on his face. And he looks at you and he laughs and he says, well, well, well. It turned out that you are here because I owed Quillius a favor. And it may well be that if we survive this next battle, it'll be Quillius that owes me a favor. And he looks at you and he winks. And he says, but I will let Quillius tell you all about that. He is going to try and contact Lavinia through her attuned crystal ball any moment now. And just as he says that, all of a sudden there's a very magical sound. Where's your
Ring,
wand? Where's your
ring.
wand, Ravens? I don't know if we can even get it on my sound system has got an automated filter that cuts out everything but human voices so that we don't get a lot of background noise. So a lot of times it cuts out the sound of all of the special effects that we do. Oh, you forgot it all?
My
Okay.
wand's at home.
All right, never mind then. Okay, so
What?
there is a very magical sound. Oh, we found one. Let's see if we can get a sound out of it here. Go ahead, give it a. There. Now, hopefully that registered at home. There's a magical sound from Lavinia's crystal ball, and Lavinia.
Can you see it okay?
Yeah, we can see it. Okay, there's Lavinia's crystal ball. She's actually got a real one. Look at that. Do you want to tell them the provenance of that crystal ball, honey?
Yes. My actual mother,
Real life mother.
real life mother, passed away about 8 years ago, and I was going through some of her stuff in the other day, and I found a crystal ball. And I just had waves of sparkles coming through me, let me tell you. So, needless to say, I feel like we have, you know, how we have my grandmother's skull. Well, I feel like I'm very blessed by having my mother's crystal ball.
That's right.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Because in our particular story, Lavinia's had a crystal ball, carried a crystal ball around with her for a long time, right?
Yeah. And
So
it
now
was
you've got-
actually originally found within the basket. You know how I was dropped off in the basket?
With the
And there-
skull?
Yeah. And one of the things that there are a few things in that basket, but the crystal ball was one of the things that was in with the skull.
Cool. So Lavinia will have told a lot of fortunes with that crystal ball
Absolutely.
through all her years as a fortune teller.
It's a friend.
All right. So the crystal ball rings. Are you going to answer the crystal ball?
Hello? Hello, this is me. Is that you?
Can you hear me now?
Hold on. Hold on. Oh, damn, you can still see me. Just a sec. No, you can't see me. You can only see Lavinia.
He is now invisible.
I have to go prepare.
I'm just trying to get you to come in clearly. Can you adjust your crystal ball a little bit?
Is this
We've got
thing
a little
on?
bit of
Fiddle with the
interference
antenna.
happening.
Is this thing on?
Okay.
There you are. Hello, my old friend. How are you?
Now, eventually, I'm going to get myself some type of scene so that there's like a crystal ball look for Quillius Quacksalver when I put on Quillius Quacksalver's hat and Quillius Quacksalver's glasses. But for now, we're just doing it this way.
Can
And,
you show
uh,
the hat?
Bunch of
Oh,
wacky
you want to see the hat?
leprechauns.
Hold on, let me show off this hat. Beautiful
gorgeous
hat.
hat.
Check that
Love
out.
it. So good.
That's my sort of hat.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of emergency spell this is that he's got there, but you never know. I wouldn't want to encounter it if
Spell
Quillius
of
cast it.
incountenance. Yeah, there you go.
All right. there
Just
we
your
go.
band.
Beep, beep, beep. What's that? Missed the band?
Yeah, it kind of just flopped off.
That's hard to say.
Flopped off.
How's that?
Just flop off.
Good enough.
There you go.
So Quillius contacts Lavinia through the crystal ball, and it's a little bit of a scratchy reception, but he is able to talk to her and says, "So you made it. You survived."
What an adventure it was. How are you, my friend?
He says, "Well, there have been a lot of things going on since just in the last few hours, since you completed your mission early this morning. I want you to extend the congratulations to all of the Wylders for a half-assed job done."
Are you saying
Because
that they're walking around with only half their asses?
here's the thing. That ship may be sunk, but all of those guards are now on the banks guarding it. And the captain of that ship, I thought you had a rogue who liked to dispatch fellows like this. You maybe shouldn't have left him alive, because you know what happened? The captain of that ship has now departed with a retinue of 4 guards heading north along the shoreline, headed for the Unkta. And I have talked with the Queen of the Fae, and she thinks what is going to happen, because she's got quite a bit of ability to foretell the future, is that he is going to make it to the Unkta, and the Unkta are going to come south to retrieve that treasure. So the Queen has dispatched a small battalion of rangers to, let me get this. There, that's better. The Queen has dispatched a small battalion of rangers westward to try and see if they can beat the Unkta after the captain of the ship and his little guard makes it north to the Unkta. If they can beat them back to the treasure site and retrieve the treasure. The problem is, of course, that treasure is underwater, and it's not going to be easy for elven rangers to retrieve. At the very least, though, they may be able to take out the rest of the undead soldiers that are guarding it. So your job there may not be over. You may be sent back. But that's after what's going to happen over the next few days. Right now, your job is to see if you can try and stay alive through this next aerial battle. If you can stay alive through this aerial battle and make a difference and help Marduk out and keep him alive, that would be much appreciated, because we're going to need him and going to need you right afterwards. If you survive that, here are your instructions from the Queen. You are to retrieve the treasure by any means necessary. It's kind of like Mission Impossible, right? Dun, 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 dun.
The globe will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
You are to retrieve that treasure by any means necessary, and Marduk will help you do it. Now, Marduk is going to help you for 2 reasons. One is he gets half the treasure. The other reason is he gets a favor from me. So Marduk is going to assist you, try and keep you alive, get you back there, assuming that he survives this next aerial battle, because, of course, his first duty is to his own people.
Yeah.
If that happens, he is going to help you retrieve that treasure and then take that treasure northward to the orc warlords. Because if Iago can play the tribute game, the Queen figures she can play the tribute game too. And wouldn't it just be sweet? See, this was my idea. Wouldn't it just be sweet if we took Iago's treasure away from him, and instead of using it as tribute to involve the Unkta serpent people in this war, we used it as tribute to gain allies for the Fey Queen and involve the orc warlords in this war, and that would even the numbers against the soldiering dead. So, your next mission, if you survive this aerial battle, is to go back, retrieve that treasure, load it aboard the Mynnior with Marduk, and Marduk will fly you north to the orc warlords. Now, if you survive the orc warlords as well, maybe you'll be able to convince them to accept the tribute and come as a matter of not only honor, but also a matter of gaining quite a bit of wealth to come south and join the elves in the final battle against Santiago. That'll give you enough forces to march southward right down to the Blood Coast. What do you think of them apples?
That sounds like a lofty task. Fine and lofty task. So we do not need to be worrying about going to a sky city then.
Well, you never know. The sooner that you get back to get the treasure, the better. But I am pretty sure that Marduk is going to want to stop and resupply.
Right. So
There's no way he's going to turn around after 2 major battles and just scamper off to a little quest that I've given him. He's going to want to resupply for sure in the city for a certain amount of time, assuming that things go the way they're supposed to. We don't know how badly beat up the city is going to be either, but I'm pretty sure sandwiched between Marduk's great big ship and the city of Eridu, that fleet of Vikings is going to have a very unpleasant surprise in a couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what a shame.
Well, thank you. Thank you for...
Now, I know that you've got hanging on your shoulders all the rest of your little motley crew here. Do they have any questions for me? This is your one chance, because I probably won't be talking to you again until after you've at least got some treasure back or something like that.
Will there be a way for us to transport our portion of the treasure somewhere safe? Can we rely on Marduk or yourself to conceal or protect our treasure while we adventure for the rest of the world's sake?
What about our bag of holding?
It only has a 500 kilogram limit.
How much treasure do you think we're taking?
Several tons.
Oh.
Well, you know, there's a ship with gold, jewels, and all kinds of things unimaginable. It has a lot of weight. Gold is very heavy. So.
But aerolite is not. So doesn't it counteract the weight of the gold?
Well, if we had any, we could use
Well,
it.
aerolite was in the treasure.
It's true.
Maybe Quillius could talk to the Pukas.
So Quillius clarifies something for you. He says, now, you know, there'll be a certain amount of anchorite down in the hold of that boat, in the bilge, just below the treasure, to keep that aerolite intact and keep it from becoming unruly. So you'll be transporting both. That's why you need some type of conveyance, and the fastest we could find is certainly going to be the Mynnior to do it. Yeah. If you try and go overland with that stuff, you are going to be at the mercy of everybody on both sides, especially if word happens to get out that you're packing that kind of valuables. Okay. That's why the Mynnior is going to be your safest bet to make it all the way to the Orc warlords, and it's a good safe place for us to keep that treasure, assuming you don't run into any sky battles. But Marduk is pretty dab hand at killing things, so I don't think you got to worry too much about that. Now, I need to clarify something here. I believe that I heard Mr. Red Rootin' Tootin' Feather over there say something about your portion of the treasure. Is that what he said?
I believe that's what he said.
Quillius gets a big tear running down out of his eye. Your portion of the treasure. Yes, that's right. Let me see. How much of your portion of the treasure is there going to be? Well, bupkis. None. Zero. Zip.
Well,
you ain't doing this for profit, buckos. You are doing this for the queen and for Lord Arwan. I do believe you are dispensing a blood debt. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to be completely without. We're going to make sure that you're taken care of. But every bit that we can give as tribute is going to go to them orc warlords. That's going to be the deal. Your job is to do R1's bidding and the Fey Queen's bidding. That's who you're in service to right now. You're going to get your operating expenses, and if you live through all of this, you'll certainly get some reward. But it ain't going to be much of that treasure, I can pretty much guarantee.
We'll need to re-equip. We may need additional armaments and additional armor. And
armaments. That's another thing. don't forget to talk to Marduk about that right after we're finished with this here call that we're on.
Okay, I have a question for you, Mr. Quillius. In the Sky City, are there wizards and mages and alchemists that we can be introduced to? And would you, if so, would you be so kind as to put in a good word ahead of us that they could assist us and possibly, help with training and recipes and that sort of thing?
All right, I'll do what I can. I know that there are markets there in Eridu, and there might even be a couple of mages that are there. Now, they're not part of my league, the Slowacs, but they might still just be a couple of freelancers that have got some mid-level spells, and there might be something handy for you. I'll have a look scrying around with my crystal ball to see what I can see in the town. That would be a good question for you to ask Marduk and Obaz after you get to the city too. They might be able to direct you someplace to somebody who will be able to help you out with something that you want. And there would be all kinds of side quests. You could spend months and months and months running around Eridu doing all kinds of side quests for the Anua giants. But I think if we're going to actually make this story move along with the main plot line, we're going to stick to most of the main stuff. But you're going to get a couple of days of shopping anyways. And you'll have, the usual thing where there's a number of shops and other things in marketplace and experts in various things for you to talk to. And these will be not only Anua giants, but all different kinds of shapes and sizes and races will be there at that marketplace.
Thank you.
Will there be a place that I'll be able to possibly pick up some cleric spells as well?
We'll see. I'll have to look around and scry with my big old crystal ball that I'm talking to you on and find out, but I think probably there'll be a place there. As far as your cleric spells, I believe you just automatically know all your cleric spells as a cleric, but there might be some other cleric-y supplies for you. I don't think you're going to find a lot relating to the Death Realm though. This is, Eridu, the Sky City. It's not like they've got a lot of Death Realm cleric related things. Other questions or things you're interested in?
As we are traveling, can we still reach out to you with our crystal ball?
Yeah, you can give me a try and see. Although, I want to be careful about how many times we're doing this because you never know who might be watching.
Absolutely.
I don't know if Yago's got his own crystal ball. I don't think he knows how to use one. But I don't want to be wrong about that either and find out the hard way.
Well, thank you.
All right, going once.
Bye, Quillius.
Going twice.
Hi, Quillius.
All right, that's it. I'm gone. And with that, whoop, instantly the crystal ball clears and Quillius Quacksalver is back to his old hijinks.
The pink captain said, obviously, the emergency spell is always a fireball.
Can't go wrong with fireball.
I think in Quillius's case, it's going to be a quackshine ball. Okay, so
Spectacles.
spectacles. I don't need to use these.
It could be a spell of release the Quacken.
Oh, you guys need to help me write this kind of material. That's really good. Release a quacken and this giant duck appears.
Giant duck appears.
Do we have a timer on?
We don't have a timer on. What time we got? 7:53. We are going to set a timer for another 7 minutes or so. We'll set it for 10. Okay. And we're going to take our break in about 10 minutes. For those of you that watched our show, you know how this works. We always take one break in the middle. We do 2 sessions. So we're usually here 2.5 hours, something like that. We'll be doing that because Mr. Raven Alexium has brought some awesome goodies as usual, and we really want to check them out. I gotta get this hat away from my screen because I can't see what's going on there. Okay, so Quillius has now shared with you kind of the game plan that the Queen wants, and they assume our one is happily with whatever the Queen needs right now. And that game plan is to try and retrieve the treasure and try and enlist the orcs as allies. What do you think of that?
Wow. That's what I think.
Okay, that sounds like a viable plan.
All right. Well, Marduk comes back out of his cabin, finds you that you're done with your conversation with Quillius, right? Calls over Obaz and says, okay, have you got any more questions for me right now? Any other questions for Marduk right now?
Well, we were just pinged by the
Quillius
wizard about
Quacksalver.
armament and weapons and that kind of thing, that he might have some stashed away that he wishes to part with.
And Marduk gets a very mischievous smile on his face and says, that's right. We've already discussed that. And now that our trap has been set and our trap has been sprung, and we have got the ships that we needed to turn the tables on the rest of that fleet, now we can break out the big guns. And he says, Obaz, take them down to the armory. So Obaz takes you below deck, one level, and there, directly below the captain's room, what you assumed was just a storeroom, Obaz opens it up, and there is all kinds of weapon and armor in the room. Unfortunately, all of the armor is huge. But Obaz looks at you, smiles, and says to Percy, well, there's not a lot that we have here that's going to fit you or that you're even going to be able to lift. But we do have some practice lances that we were bringing along just so that we could give them to the kids that we're training when we meet the next city. And those lances are going to be a little bit oversized for you, but you might be able to lift them. And with that, he pulls this big canvas back, and there are these 7-foot long, slender lances that look almost exactly like lightning bolts. They even have the little zigzag in the middle. And he says, now these are practice lightning lances. They work very similar to the little lightning trident that I saw your rogue use during the attack. It's exactly the same type of spell, except that these ones are disposable. And we've got enough of these that you can probably have half a dozen each. Now, I'm hesitant for you to waste any of them with practice. So we're going to go up on deck, and I'm going to take a couple of the full-size ones, and I'm going to show you exactly how they work and what you're going to do. And then we're just going to have the Chips Carpenter mock you up some dummies so you can get an idea of the weight. Some dummy wooden lances that are a similar design and weight, but do not have the enchantment of lightning on them, so that you can see how they work. This will give you something to do during the battle, and we can use the extra manpower anyways. And even these small lances pack a heck of a punch.
What's their attack range?
He says, oh, that's the thing. And he winks at you, and he brings you up on deck, and he brings, because they've got bushelfuls of the full-size lances, he brings up one of the bigger lances for you. And Obaz says, now, we don't have a target here that we can really hit, but I'm going to take this and I'm going to throw, and you'll see what I mean. And he takes it back just as though it literally looks like he's going to throw a thunderbolt. And as it comes back in his hand, all of a sudden it begins to glow, and you see the lightning crackling around it. He puts his other arm out, pointing as though he's going to throw a javelin. And he throws it, and as he throws it, it continues to sail and sail and sail and sail until you lose sight of it over the horizon.
Wow.
And he says, you see, these lances are made to go half a mile or more, depending on what you need to hit. Because, of course, they are built for aerial naval battles. They are built to hit Viking longships. So your range on these lances are going to be at least 400 or 500 yards as far as our D&D rules that we're playing with. You're going to have as much distance as you need. You still have to hit your target, though. And that is why we're going to give you some wooden ones to practice with, so that you can get an idea of the arc that they always fly in. Now, a little Games Master explanation for you about how we are going to play the aerial battle rules in the game, the way we play right now. playing battle between ships is kind of a problem in D&D because D&D is built for, you fighting a monster within somewhere between, 100 feet, 200 feet, something like that. With aerial battles, there have been some new rules that have been released that are based on the new D&D fatigue rules. And I've watched a couple of other games that are starting to dabble with this, and I think this is the way we're going to go too. You know how fatigue levels work? Where the new rules for fatigue are that every level of fatigue that you get, you have to subtract a point from your hit and from your damage and stuff like that. So the way we're going to score and do combat with ship to ship is going to be that the ships will have a set number of hit points. In the case of the Viking longboats, they're going to have 100 hit points. In the case of the Mynnior, it's going to have 600 hit points. Now, every time a ship loses 10% of its hit points, that ship and all of the occupants of that ship will take 1 level of fatigue. And there will be 10 levels of fatigue. Make sense? So what that means is that, of course, let's say that you're on a ship and your ship gets hit by another ship or an occupant of another ship, and it takes that 10 points of damage. The ship takes, let's say your ship's got 100 for nice round numbers, and it takes that 10 points of damage. Well, what that means is, of course, it could be things like flying debris. It could be uneven terrain on the ship. The ship is rocking. There's the mayhem of battle. Those are the kinds of things that are going to drop your abilities down point by point by point. So the worse your ship gets before it actually capsizes and falls out of the sky, the less ability you have to fight effectively from that ship. Make sense?
Yes.
And that is going to be what you need to expect as far as what you're going to try and do for damaging the Viking ships, is how many points of damage you do to them. That you're trying to knock them out of 100 down to 0. And if you knock them, either they're so badly disabled by the time they get down to 20, 30 points that they're not effective in battle anymore, or you actually knock them right down to 0 and they capsize and collapse out of the sky. Make sense? There's a ring-a-ding-a-ding.
That was good to
I
We
just wanted
heard
to
an alarm.
just talk about those lances really quickly.
Yeah.
Really quickly. So nowadays, lance is not a very common name, but in the Middle Ages, people were named Lancelot.
Oh, really? They were named Lancelot
Medieval
in the Common
times,
Ages.
sorry.
Rob, you should be laughing uproariously because that joke is the kind of joke you always tell.
I'm shaking my spears.
Oh.
Well, what's the point?
Yeah.
No.
You joust. Surely you joust.
So, all puns aside, we're going to take our break now. We are going to be back to find out, now that the Mynnior is on its course being towed by one of the Viking longboats. We're going to find out what kind of success you guys have at finding the fleet and the city of Eridu. We're going to do that when we come back from our 15-minute break. It is 8:04 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We're going to be back at 8:20 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So 16 minutes from now, for any of you that are out there. For those that are watching the recording, all you do is skip ahead 16 minutes over our break. And we're going to start. We'll go back to playing live again at that time. We'll see you soon. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you all. Be back. Okay, and we are back. Welcome back to the game. We left off where we had just had a little discussion with Marduk, who's the captain of the Aerra Enua flying ship, the Mynnior, and a little confab with Quillius Quacksalver that Lavinia was able to talk to him through her crystal ball that was attuned with him when they actually visited him back in the Feywood. Before we go any further, though, we just finished break, and I just wanted to do one more shout out to Glenn, who made us berries with ice cream. Pretty awesome. Thank you very much.
Frozen yogurt.
Frozen yogurt.
Oh, wrong. Frozen yogurt.
Only 2
Thank you.
grams of saturated fat
Only 2 grams.
Yeah.
Wow.
per teaspoon.
And we need to do a timer to remember, so we should do that too real quick. Okay, so
Right click.
right now, the Mynnior is part of a 3-ship flotilla.
Sorry, what was that?
There is a Viking longboat with a little bit of damage, towing. It looks like it's towing the Mynnior. The Mynnior is actually under its own power, having no problem being pulled. But it's been decorated to be damaged, so it looks like it's damaged, and it's listing just slightly. And then there is a very badly damaged Viking longboat being towed behind the Mynnior. So your little 3-ship procession is headed northeast. You've got your 2 days to that's the estimated time that Obaz has given you that he thinks it'll take for you to catch up with the fleet that was headed eastward, and you are coming now northeastward to try and intercept it. And the sun has just gone down.
Okay.
So what do you think? What do you wish to do? What are your ideas?
I think
now?
we are safe to have a rest, a full rest.
I
Yes.
agree.
That means that you guys get your spell slots back.
Yes.
The Obaz says that Obaz, the first mate, says that you're going to that the ship's carpenter will probably have enough practice wooden lances knocked up in the morning for you guys to have a little bit of practice time,
Okay.
just so that you can get used to throwing a javelin in the right form for a javelin, and that he's going to show you then how to aim using the point of the javelin for when you are sighting to throw it. To try and hit your target.
I think I may have a slight advantage considering my heritage.
You may have a slight advantage considering your heritage. Yeah,
Yes.
that makes sense.
And your strength.
Well, because, the traditional spear is very much the weapon of my people.
Yeah, I understood that. I'm just saying you're also
yeah.
very strong.
Oh, thank you.
So let's go around the table real quick. If
But
there's
still,
any
we'll
ideas or
I
things that
was
you want to do.
thinking that, but not today.
So, Thaddeus, this evening, you're turning in. Is there anything you need to do before that or when you get up in the morning?
No, I think I'm gonna have an early night and get up early and practice my form before the lances come out.
Okay. What about you, Josephine Smith?
I'm going to rest some. I don't know. Assist Percy with anything that needs to be done as far as the arrows go. If he needs help making some more or whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah, and we were going to try and, I think flaming arrows are preferable.
Mhm.
So we need to make sure that we have all the supplies for flaming arrows.
Yes.
So I'm sure we still have tons of pitch
Right.
and cloth, so we just have to prep
You,
them.
you just wrap the
We just have to
end
prep
of it.
them, yes.
Yeah. Make sure that it's secured and soaked in pitch.
All right,
Ready to
Lavinia, what do you think?
I'm going to be studying my spells and seeing what things are most practical for me to have. So I'm probably going to be changing out some of my spells.
Okay.
I have a question for our squishy wizard. Is there a rune of explosion?
There could be. I don't have the formula to craft them. But I would imagine that there's runes that could be useful for that, or actually talisman would
Because
be.
the curious thought came to mind: if we can make a flaming arrow, why couldn't we make a magically enchanted arrow which had a rune on it?
You can actually enchant runes. You can put spells on runes.
On
And
arrow, on arrow.
I can craft ammunition actually as an alchemist.
Okay.
I just need the formulas to do it, and I don't have any.
Okay. So this is a future thing.
Yep.
Maybe we might want to look at the future. Okay. I was curious
Good
about
to
that because
know.
I was like, ooh, wouldn't that be so great if I could shoot an arrow and boom?
Well, I think I actually have some ammunition. It's not very useful in this case, but I mean, it's for folks that can shoot things better than me.
Okay.
So bola is one of them. I have some bola ammunition, which is, good for you guys. But yes,
I don't know what that is.
Bola ammunition. How does Bola ammunition work?
I don't know, but I have some.
It is generally either 2 or 3 bags connected by links or cords, and when you throw them, they entangle the feet of the person you throw them at, causing them to trip and fall. Now, if you are using a mast breaker, it's a form of bolo, which is a chain attached to 2 weights, which goes around the mast and breaks it, shatters it.
In this particular case, it's very much like that. The ammunition bears a rune with 3 lines radiating out, each ending in a circle. When activated, the bola hits a target. It deals non-lethal bludgeoning damage. And if you critically success, they fall prone and are
Tangles their feet.
subdued or stunned. Otherwise, they're just fall prone.
Nice. And this is fired with a what kind of device?
It just says shot, so ammunition is any. So you could use that for whatever. As a matter of fact, I can't use it, so I can give it to you two. And I have 2
be
of them.
used with your shotgun.
You are the one with the shotgun, not her.
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm going to say
I have the Delosa
that
shotgun.
that you can fire those out of your Deloso shotgun.
Okay.
And I'm going to say that it's possible for Josephine to have an attachment for her sniper rifle to fire them as well.
Cool.
But they're not going to be usable as ammunition out of a handgun of any kind.
No, because I think they're too big. They're too massive.
And I'm going to give them a range of 75 feet, 75 to 100 feet.
Okay.
Right. So you could even try and hit
heavy.
something as far away as 150, or I was going to say 120 feet, with a disadvantage above the 75
I'm
feet.
going to need the stats on that for damage and the rolls to hit. So,
Well, I have 2 pieces of bola shot. You're welcome to it.
okay. So you got
Because
2.
what would those be good for? Shooting some Viking legs, I would assume.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right? All right. Okay, so
There's a few
Other
things
things?
I would like to do. Yes.
Yeah,
when
what
it's
would you
my
wanna
turn.
do, Ray?
Are you done? Okay. So I have 3 spells that I want to learn from scrolls. They only take me a short period of time to do that. I have a scroll of Dividing Trench, Stinking Cloud, and one other Lashing Rope that I'd like to learn on this trip.
Okay, what's the first one? Dividing what?
Dividing Trench. And it is a spell that basically makes a hole. You dig a trench across a surrounding terrain, which must be soil, clay, sand, or soft earth, but not stone. It's 5 feet wide, 5 feet deep, 15 feet long. And you could make it curve slightly if you wish. So basically it becomes a place to hide and shoot from.
Ah, okay.
Or we can fill it with something nasty, like flammables or something, and burn people if we wish.
But if you do that on a ship, it will rip the deck apart.
It wouldn't work on a ship because there's no earth for the spell to activate on. See,
Yeah.
it won't work on stone, but it'll work on any other kind of earth.
Okay.
I'm going to say any other kind of soft or hard earth it would work on.
But it's worth learning that spell. And also, too, I would like to spend the next 2 days writing scrolls of Fireball. So I can spend 2 days and make up to 4 of them at the go. So I would like to do that.
So I had a
I'm
question
not
for you.
surprised.
Could I use a scroll of fireball? Is it like I'm feeling like I have no firepower?
You would have to have it in your divine skill or spell list, and I don't think fireball is.
No. I may have a feat that allows me to take on something of a different class or school.
If you have trick magic item, then you might be able to use it as a feat.
I'll have to take a look to see.
Okay, but I thought there were some divine spells that might be helpful in this case. I'd have to go through your spell lists with you and
Yeah.
see if there's anything that jumps out.
I mean, honestly, as a game master, like I'm probably going to rule that the only person that can fire a fireball is a wizard. That doesn't mean though that a cleric shouldn't have other stuff that might not be a fireball, but it should be other spells that pack a punch.
Yeah.
Something useful. You can also buff, right? You can use a lot of buff spells to help everybody else be better at what they do. Like bless is an example.
Okay. Yeah, I need to go through. That's why I'm saying if I can spend a little bit of time kind of going through this so that I'm.
You all will also have 6 lightning lances each.
The pink
Right?
captain popped his head in the chat here and said fireball is an arcane spell, not divination. So
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, then that's what I would like to do.
Okay, all right. So you're working on that. Basically, you're going to kind of sequester yourself away and write furiously, working on your stuff.
Yep.
Good. Okay, so basically you pass the first night resting, and it's fairly uneventful. You'll hear the crew a number of times passing back and forth on the deck above you, and the occasional word on them, of course, as they are holding a lookout and they are continuing to watch for the fleet that they are pursuing and trying to guess where they are.
Could we get our spell slots, please?
Oh, yeah. So here we go.
while he's digging
I will
those out,
pass that around.
the pink captain says,
So
"Oh, sorry."
on your sheets, on your character sheets for the forge, you can go ahead and click the long rest button if you need to. Did anybody still have damage that they need to heal up? That long rest button should heal up a little bit of damage if you've got it. Other things that you may want to look at are bandages and other healing. If you've got any health issues.
The pink captain has some advice for Lavinia to look up vampiric touch. It's a divine spell. You drain life points, but you gain those as temporary.
They are out of alignment with my connection to Pharasma. I can't because it's a negative spell as opposed to a positive spell.
Sure. Okay.
You got it? Here, thank you.
Okay, other stuff?
I'll look into
You
it.
guys are going to all get all your spell slots, and so that you're set up for the morning. Anything else? It becomes morning of your first day of pursuit now, and so far there's nothing on the horizon. And Obaz shows up with what looks like a whole bunch of little sticks in his hand, which as he gives to each of you 3 of them, he says this is all that the ship's carpenter managed to chop out of some of our bigger timber stock for you and whittle them down, but it'll have to do. And you've each got 3 javelins to practice throwing. So Obaz shows you how to sight and how to position yourself to hold them as far back as you can.
Thaddeus is doing battle assessment for
Okay.
that to get this form exactly right.
Obaz says, this is what you need to remember about the magical lances. Whatever you sight the tip of the lance at, that is where the lance is going to land. So because this is a magical item, unlike a regular lance where you would have to, or a bow, where you would have to raise your sight and try and guesstimate the arc, what will happen is when you release wherever you have the tip sighted, that is where that lance is going to land, which is why these lances can go on a shorter arc that only goes 100 feet, or go on a longer arc that will go several hundred feet, is because it is what you are looking at and using the tip of the lance as a sight as you throw it. So right now you're going to be throwing fairly short because they're only wooden lances, they're not empowered, and as you throw them, they're only going to go out from the ship, maybe 100 feet, maybe 200 feet at the most with your strongest member. But when you throw the magical lances, you'll be able to sight much further than that. So let's practice with the short ones, and everybody's going to do that.
I'm going to practice.
Yep. All right.
My first throw, I'm going to the back of the ship, and I'm going to throw towards the front. So specifically, so I don't lose the bow, so I can practice with it again.
Ooh, listen to him. Okay.
Do we? You said they were going to set up some dummies for us.
The original idea Obaz had was that you would probably just end up throwing them overboard, but he really likes Thaddeus's idea.
Can't we toss them at the other ship, like the ones that we're towing?
Yes, and he says it's a little too short to try and throw them at the ship, but we've got the damaged ship behind us.
Yeah.
So he calls out and he instructs the sailors on the damaged ship to set up one of the dead Vikings that you have right in the very aft of the ship.
That's dark.
Awesome.
I like it.
And he looks at it and he says, okay, and this is not the chief by any means, this is just another one. But they prop up this dead Viking as though he's the captain of that ship. Mm-hmm. And you can clearly see him with his white billowing Windwolf cloak, right? And Obas laughs to himself as he says, okay, there's your target. And if you underthrow, your lance is probably going to land on the ship. If you happen to overthrow, you might lose your lance, but maybe you'll get a few extra throws this way. And he calls out to the ship being towed to, there doesn't need to be any of the other Anua sailors on it because it's just being towed. So he calls on them to vacate the ship because the Wylders are going to have some target practice. And as they hand over hand the rope that's towing the ship and get on, they look at you and they all laugh and smile to each other because in their eyes it's like the kiddies having practice play, throwing lances like the big sailors do. All right, so you want to give it a shot?
I do.
Okay. The way we're going to do this is we're going to roll to hit and see how you do with your lances.
Is athletics or what's the?
You're going to be, I'm going to just have a look and we're going to make it the same for everybody. So Thaddeus's sheet.
Oh, wow. Everyone has their notifications turned on. That was just me. The pink captain gave a list of things for Lavinia, so.
We're going to say that they work exactly like the trident. Do you still have the
You said
trident,
it.
Thaddeus, or is it gone from your hit list?
I've still got it.
I really appreciate it.
Is it maybe not in your actions? Is it trident?
I don't think it's in my actions, but it's in the consumables.
Consumables. All right, I'm going to look in your consumables, and I'm going to take Mr. Trident, if I can.
Okay.
So for the
Sorry,
rest
don't
of you,
let
if you
me-
want, we're just going to do a spear. You're just going to assume that you're throwing a spear, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to, and for Thaddeus as well, SPEAR, it's going to have exactly the same stats as a spear for its to hit and everything like that.
And we
So-
just add this to our actions?
Yeah, you can just add a spear to your actions if you want to. And because you're not familiar with the spear, I'm going to say that you are throwing the spear with a 4-point penalty to your hit. Okay, so whatever your regular hit is with your regular, one of your main items, That's what you're going to be using for the spear, but you're going to take a 4-point penalty to whatever you roll to hit. Because you're unfamiliar with this, with throwing one of these. Percy is not going to have that penalty.
With me being trained in small weapons and that sort of stuff.
You are going to have that penalty. Raven is going to have a 5-point penalty.
Sorry, why do we have a penalty again?
Because it's an unfamiliar thing that you're not used to throwing, and you're just using practice lances.
We're not trained in the...
Right?
Okay.
And I'm going to say that but the other 3 of you each have a 4-point penalty.
Okay.
Thaddeus, Josephine, Lavinia have a 4-point penalty. Percy has no penalty, and Raven has a 5-point penalty because he's a squishy wizard, and this isn't his forte at all.
So, for instance, my pearl hilt fillet knife that I use, I have
Sure.
plus 15 to strike.
Right. So
So
it'd
it'd
be,
be minus 4, so it'd be plus 11.
yes.
And I rolled 11, so that's 22.
All right. Which hits? Okay. So you end up throwing the spear. It hits, and there's this wooden lance sticking out of this dead Viking that's on the thing. All right. Do you want to take another shot, or maybe we'll just go around one
We'll go
shot
around,
each?
yeah.
And it becomes Josephine's turn to get up and try her range to see if she can range with her spear.
Well, what would I use? Like,
Just
you
use a peacemaker, and whatever the
Okay.
hit on
Yeah,
the
and
peacemaker
you
is.
got usually you'd have a plus 15, so you have a plus 10,
plus 11.
plus
Plus
11.
11.
Yeah.
Try to rip me off the points.
No, I'm not trying to rip you off, dear.
Yes. And we're rolling a 20.
Yeah. And you
So
have to make
I
a 19 to
distracted
hit
myself
that
trying
dead Viking.
I did not. I rolled.
You missed.
I rolled a 4. So
Okay. Roll again. Roll a d20 again to see if you lose your spear. If it's below 8, you lose the spear.
13.
So the spear ends up clattering to the deck right behind the dead Viking.
Gotta work on my upper body.
Lavinia, you want to give her a shot?
I don't.
Lavinia also has to work on her upper body.
I have to work on my upper body.
Do you want to roll to see if you lose your spear?
Well, I only got a 2, so it didn't go very far.
You got to see if it made it to the boat then.
14.
Okay, so your spear falls short and like clatters onto the deck right near the very front of the boat in the wimpiest little beep so
That's
far.
what it felt like. Yeah.
All right, but that's what ranging is. And what I would really wanted to do, this was my idea for us playing with this, but I just couldn't put it together. I wanted to do some kind of a game where I could give you guys a controller and try and have you do it on the big screen behind me.
Oh,
Oh,
jeez.
I'm useless at those.
That would have.
Well, like we
when we
did
did Duck
before with
Hunt?
the iPad. Yeah.
Yeah, with the iPad.
That was fun.
That was fun.
So I will see about doing that in a different time, but right now we'll just go this way. Okay, Mr. Percival Redfeather, roll to see how you do with your ranging.
Oh dear. I only got 33.
Right. So your spear goes boom, it hits the Viking right in the head. And there's this big spear just sticking out of one dead eyeball, Viking eyeball. And his head just kind of flops forward a little bit as the spear pulls it down like this. And he's got one sticking out of his chest from Thaddeus and one sticking out of his eyeball.
Any
from
questions, my giant friends?
you. And it becomes
Don't get
Raven's
cocky.
time to give it a try.
So my buckskin knife is a +8. So is that my base, or a crossbow is +10?
Go with the crossbow, whatever your highest base is.
Okay,
Whatever
so it's a
your highest.
+5, whatever this roll is, and it's a 14.
Okay, so 14 is
20.
what total?
The
that you
total.
got?
It's
14.
19, yeah.
Okay, so you missed because it's 19 that you got to make.
Yeah.
Roll to see how you do with keeping your spear.
I rolled a 7.
Your spear clatters short of the target. and it stays on the deck, and you still have your practice spear.
When I was doing that, was I supposed to be doing it with sickle or something else? Like I just did it with the dice. I didn't associate it with
Well, didn't you use a bonus from one of your other weapons?
no, it doesn't matter.
You rolled a 2, so
I mean, I
You're right. You rolled a 2, so it wouldn't matter. But yeah, you can use your sickle, honey, as far as the to hit on the
Oh,
future
okay.
one if
Yeah,
you want.
computation of the numbers.
Thaddeus, go with your second try on your spear.
I got 16.
16. So you miss. Do you keep your spear?
$16.
Yeah, you keep your spear. It just falls short and it clatters onto the deck. Second shot, Josephine.
Oh, 22.
22. You hit.
Good.
And you end up hitting the leg. Just the very upper part of the leg. Zoop, there's a pincushion that Viking.
Oh, okay. I don't roll where
Right
it
in the
goes.
femoral artery.
No, you don't have to.
Okay.
We'll just make up where it goes. You hit him in a good
Take
place.
that.
You
Dead.
Lavinia?
dead Viking, you.
You only have to roll to see if you lose it. If you miss.
Well, that looks like a 17.
What does it look like to you?
It's a 20.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was just tilted up, but the
Yeah,
20
it's-
was on top.
So Lavinia scores with her second hit, and she hits the guy. What I should do, and if we ever do this again, I will get a target dummy, and I'll put numbers on it for all the different parts of the body. Right? As a matter of fact, I bet I could do that while we were talking.
We have a message from our subscriber Ion Eyes saying, "Hope your sessions have gone well. I've missed quite a few and need to catch up. Wife had a baby, so that's kept me busy. So congratulations.
Congratulations.
A big congratulations.
Little boy, little girl.
Little baby D&D'er.
Life's greatest adventure.
Make sure
What
you
kind
get her
of a
started
baby?
early.
What kind of a baby? A
A
baby
girl or a
baby.
boy?
If you get a chance to answer here, Ion Eyes, we're curious to see if you have a son or a daughter.
Lovely.
Yes, congratulations. That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Okay. So right now, the people at home are like, what the hell is he doing? But everybody here knows I'm drawing a Viking.
And I'm biting my tongue so hard.
And we're going to go with...
All right, we do have a caricature artist.
Too bad.
It'll go to my head. Bing bong bing.
That's
Bing,
what was
yeah,
going on in
bing,
their mind.
Bing
Yeah.
bong bing.
Dum bum, dum bum,
Dum dum.
dum dum dum.
Okay.
Dun, dun.
You have to hit at least a 12 to hit your Viking.
Look at this guy. He's great.
Okay. So this is our Viking
like,
dummy.
yeah, again, the microphone.
How about this?
There.
Does that help?
Yep, that's
This
Back
is
it
our
up just a
Viking
little
dummy.
bit. Back it up just a little bit. There you
Yep.
go.
That's as far as it goes. I'm on the mic. So let me explain what's going on here.
Or lift it up.
Eh,
I can't see the bottom markings. There you go.
Hey, let me put it on me too. I'll lift it up as I go. Let's start with the head. Notice that the eyeballs are 20s, right? The helmet is a 19, the mouth is an 18, and then it goes on from there. 17. Notice 16. 16 is for those of you that have got a real grudge. 15s, 14s, 13s, and 12s.
For those of you who would like to play along at home with your dice,
dear.
So that's going to be your guy. That's if I had a digital one, I would put it up on the thing. But that's going to be your guy.
This is way
What
better
you
than
need to
any
hit?
digital version.
Like that? Yeah. There we go. Look, that looks pretty good. So it becomes now, here, I'll put this back on here. Whose turn was it next? Who's throwing the next lance?
I think Slovenian's turn.
I got my 20. Is what
Oh.
I got.
Okay.
So you
You
got
hit
him
an
right
eyeball.
in the eyeball.
Oh, yes, good job.
So instead of doing the hit, we're just going to say if you get a 12 or above, this is where you hit your guy. If you get below a 12, you miss. Okay. Percy, see how you can do.
That is a 29.
Right. I still
You-
forgot.
you-
to
it's
add
it's
the-
just whatever your straight D20 is. We're not going to add the other
straight
stuff.
D20 was a 15.
Okay. So you hit
So
him right
shoulder.
in the shoulder.
Okay, there we go.
Hit him in the left shoulder. All right.
The pink captain says that looks like the Viking version of the board game Operation.
Thank you, Pink Captain. That's
And
good. You're
you
right.
too
If
can
you
have your
make a
own
mistake.
copy just by joining us on Patreon. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Raven.
So I just want to clarify: shouldn't we be shooting at a boat rather than a Viking? Like we're
Well, no,
we'll be
you want
hitting-
to shoot at a particular.
well, you're going to be
Viking.
throwing the lances at a boat, not at a
I
Viking.
know. I'm just asking.
But in this case, you're so close
We're
that this is the
practicing
only
target practicing.
decent shot you're going to get
okay.
is an actual body.
All right, I rolled a 10.
You rolled a 10, so clattering at the Viking's feet, that lance comes up short. But it's there, you didn't lose it.
Okay.
Thaddeus rolled a 4. Thaddeus rolls to see if he loses his lance. If it's 5 or less, you got to roll to see if you lose your lance.
I lost it.
Okay, Thaddeus loses the lance.
First lost land.
Oh,
And it
Happy
falls, it just goes
Lancelot.
pew below the longbow.
it's a Lancelot.
Ooh. Okay, go ahead. That was a no.
I think she spoke.
That
too
was,
soon.
so now it's you rolling to see if you save your lance. And you lose your lance.
no.
So you guys are down to what? How many lances do you guys have now? 2 each or 1 each?
We've all shot 3.
You're right.
We
How
had
many
three,
did?
we just each lost one.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you thrown 3?
Yeah, we've thrown 3.
Okay, so this is the third throw for everybody, isn't
Yeah,
it?
so
Yeah.
then we'll have to go and retrieve.
Okay,
the ones
all
that
right.
we still have.
Or the guys on the boat can just throw them over.
There aren't anybody on that boat. You
Then
guys are
who
gonna.
props
They
the
deserve the
giant
rope.
up?
They all
did that
vacated afterwards.
Yeah,
Right, because we're throwing,
We're throwing
spears
spears,
at
yeah,
untrained people.
randomly,
Yeah.
yeah.
La, 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 la.
So you missed as well, I take it, my dear.
I'll see if I lost my.
I like it better when we were able to use our.
Yeah, it's harder to
the
miss.
adjustments were nice. Yes, yeah.
Goodbye, Lance.
Oh, so you're down to 2 lances each.
Lost.
All 3 of you are down to 2 lances. Percy.
Started off so well.
I missed just this once. Freaking 11.
Well, at least you didn't lose your lance.
Didn't lose my lance.
It's stuck in the floorboards of the deck.
I rolled a 3.
Oh, roll to see if the lance disappears.
Well, I'm going to use chronological shift to re-roll because I can do that.
So he turns back time just so he can throw his lance
Yeah,
again.
it's a pretty
So
hacky
we
thing,
use
but
spell slots to do this. He's got his spell here, chronal shift.
may as well use it up, eh?
All right.
All right, I rolled a 4 that time. So, and I lost my lance.
Oh my God, you guys are. Well, it looks like you need a lot of practice, right?
Okay.
Watching Obaz, you see Obaz shout across to the carpenter, "Hey, make some more of those."
We need toothpicks.
Well, at least I can retrieve 2 of mine.
Okay, so how are you guys going to get your lances back?
Well, can we go back over to the other ship and just bundle them
We
up?
have-
Okay,
Well,
so
across the
there's
rope.
the
A
rope.
rope.
Towing you. Who's gonna overhand it across to the other boat?
Well, I mean, you could have Draymond go get it.
Couldn't
Well,
someone
she can't
like
lift a lance.
We should
She's
put
a
it in the
little
boat.
raven.
couldn't someone just go and like bundle them and like throw them all over their shoulder and come back?
Somebody strong, sure. Yeah.
Somebody strong.
Somebody
who
strong.
could easily overhand.
Just throw them all back.
And
Okay.
Yeah.
No, don't throw them all back. You're gonna have to bundle them up
Yeah.
and then just take a rope with you, and then you guys can just pull the bundle as it swings below the ship.
Oh, that
Okay.
makes sense. Yeah.
Are you gonna overhand over there?
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Athletics.
All right.
Roll for your athletics.
Do you need help? Because I'm like
Oh.
I can walk the tightrope across.
You have another
with
chrono
my
shift in case.
cool new.
Yes, I do. I
Do you want to
I-
walk the tightrope? And you could just harness up a rope so if you fall, you'll still be caught. You won't fall. You want to try the tightrope thing?
Yeah, because I have that rope ability.
I think that's an
Yes.
excellent plan.
Yes,
It's
and
about
I
time somebody
just-
remembered that.
Well, I always remember it. Just
Well,
was
I
the
didn't.
opportunity.
That's why I mean
This is
somebody. That
awesome.
includes me.
This is good.
Okay, so you need to tightrope across.
Yes, I'm going to roll to see if I make it.
Okay.
I rolled a 14 plus my would be.
You'd have no
acrobatics.
problem.
Yeah.
You're good.
You good. You
Yeah.
So
You got like a 10 or 11.
Josephine, being the half-elf amazing acrobatic type that she is, just gets up and runs across the rope.
Well, it's
No
like
problem.
It's like a big rope, right? So it
Oh,
would
yeah,
be the
it's
Oh
same
yeah,
as
giant
a-
rope. yeah.
considering how much bigger the
Oh.
giants
It's
are.
just like Legolas in Lord of the Rings. She runs right across it. And all right, and you've got a much lighter line with you. You've got to pull that line in to get a thicker line across. You bundle up 2 wraps around the bundle of lances, and then just basically lower it off the side and let it swing. And it swings off the side. Who's going to pull it up on the other
can do
side?
that.
Percy, obviously.
Yep.
He pulls it up, and you run back. Roll to see if you make it back without falling off.
I rolled a 12.
You're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you guys each get to go again. You've got 2 lances,
I think we've all got 2.
2 lances.
He
2
still has
lances.
three.
3.
I still have 3.
Percy still has 3. Okay, you've got 2 lances each. Go ahead for your next roll to see how your practice goes.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Oh no.
Thaddeus is down to 1 lance.
Good thing
All
I
right.
practice last.
Josephine.
At least I came up with the idea.
I rolled a 15.
Yeah, you have no problem.
I shoot him
So
in the
let me
shoulder.
see. Let
Yay.
me see who you hit. You hit him. You hit him in the shoulder.
Yeah.
Now the last time you hit him in this shoulder. This time you hit him in this shoulder.
No, he hit him.
Yeah.
I haven't
Did
hit
you?
yet. This is
Oh,
the first
okay.
time I've
All
hit
right.
him.
Congratulations. You hit him in the shoulder.
Thank you. All that
All right,
practicing.
Lavinia, how you doing?
17.
Woohoo.
17. You hit him right square in the chest.
Right in the heart.
Nice.
Awesome.
I
Percival.
hit him the first round.
18.
Yeah.
18.
You hit
in the
him
mouth.
right
Yeah.
in the mouth.
Oh, jeez. Well, he's dead. But
Well, yeah, but whatever.
And he's looking really beat up, especially
Oh.
because after your last round, he had all these. He's like a pin cushion. Now he's starting to look a little pin cushiony again.
question for you, Sir
Yes.
Game Master. Are we going to use this when we're actually in battle?
We might have a ship version of this in battle.
You know, it'd be hilarious if we could get a felt cutout of this and little Velcro balls
Yeah.
that you could pick up at the
Oh
dollar
my
store.
god!
And you toss them at it to see where it hits.
All right, I'll
And
see what
this
I can
and
do.
other merch can be bought.
Yes, yes.
I'm gonna see
want
what
it.
I can do about
want
this.
it.
I've got a good idea of what we can do. I think we're
cool.
good. Okay,
Might have some Velcro.
whose turn is it to throw a lance?
Sure.
You have some Velcro balls? All right.
I rolled a 12.
You rolled a 12. You hit him in the foot.
Yay.
Hey.
All right.
Now we can't
Did
walk.
everyone hit this round? Oh
No.
sorry, Thaddeus.
Somebody lost a
He's
somebody
not-
lost one.
He's not the walking
Thaddeus
dead.
is down to 1 lance. Go ahead.
No.
Oh,
Thaddeus is
no.
doesn't like
Oh,
lances.
no.
Thaddeus is unhappy with his lances. Does he keep his lance?
We started out. Yes, I keep it.
Okay. Josephine.
Come on, big money. I rolled a 14.
You hit him in
Arm.
the arm.
16.
16. Oh, you hit him in his happy place.
Right? The batch.
Oh no.
Right in his happy place.
Not
Yeah.
so happy.
In the lower
anymore.
abdomen.
Thank you.
Really lower.
Pelvic area.
I missed again.
Roll to see if you keep it
I
then.
got 11, so
11? Well, you'll be okay then. You'll keep your lance. Don't need to worry
yeah.
about it.
Okay.
And Raven, are you down to 1? What have you got?
I rolled an 11.
You You rolled an 11. Okay, so you just missed again, but it stayed in the deck. All right, so for the rest of the morning, that's enough of us playing target practice, I think, right?
It was fun.
Yeah, until we do the next kind of idea. So for the rest of the morning, the carpenter delivers to you a few more lances so that you're all able to practice until you've just pretty much thrown away a good 15 lances at least. But it's no big loss because they're just practice lances. And there are so many holes in that dead Viking that the newest sailors, when you were done, actually go over and take the propped up body of the dead Viking and they tip it over the back of the boat because he looks so badly damaged that anybody that would have some type of scrying spell or be able to look really closely would easily be able to tell that he was really badly wounded and that he was no longer alive because he's been pincushioned for hours.
I thought it would be because he would smell.
Speaking
oozy.
of that would be my next point. You notice by that evening that there's a particularly unpleasant odor coming from the ship in front of you. The ship behind you, you don't really notice anything. There are a few Vikings that are put on it, only 2 or 3 up as though they're the crew. Most of the Vikings that are dead have been propped up on the ship in front of you, and there's a pretty nasty odor coming from it, and all of the crew is commenting on how you've got this death ship up there, and you see a lot of them tying bandages around their noses and their faces to try and block out the smell and take creams, strong smelling creams, and put them under their nose to try and cancel the
Do you
smell.
have anything pretty smelling we can put in under our noses?
And interesting.
Well, speaking as a physician, we're used to the smell of death.
I have a question, but also an observation.
Yeah.
Considering that the crew of our ship is of quasi-Egyptian provenance, would they not have preservational resins?
Well, their Egyptian, their culture as Anua, because they live in a sky city, involves cremation instead of the traditional Egyptian burial, because traditional Egyptian burials would happen where you've got earth, right?
And
whereas
you have
because they are people are basically of the air realm, they return their dead to the air on funeral pyres.
Lavinia would like to take a look at the herbs that I've gathered to see if there's possibly something that I can consult with my grandma to see if there is a salve or something I can make up so that we can at least use it to protect.
I've got some elderberry.
Well, even a strong
hemlock.
tannin solution
Yeah.
can preserve the bodies.
I cast prestidigitation on myself.
Okay, to clean yourself up and
That's right. To avoid the scent. I like to
okay.
cast it on you too, but I can't sustain
I
it.
decided to give Bear a bath because that would smell better than.
I've got rose hips.
I'm joking. I'm sure that there's not a bathtub for a big dog.
all you need is one of the cook's bigger bowls, and that doggo can get in it if it's like one of his big cooking cauldrons. Lavinia, you asked about your grandmother, Abuelita. Where is she? Okay. As you hold a conversation with Abuelita, asking her about that, what Abuelita suggests to you is that you take several of the herbs that you've got, as well as a couple of things that Thaddeus has, and burn them in an incense bowl right at the front of the ship, so that incense rolls back over the ship and masks the smell coming from the ship in front of you. And it doesn't completely do the job, especially when there's a cross draft, but you do find some relief from it. The other thing that you find is that it's only on the upper deck that you're getting that smell. If you go below deck, that smell is not a problem.
Perfect.
So you can, as many of the crew do, you can retreat below decks to do things, and unless you find that only a skeleton crew that's on lookout
No
is
pun
forced to
intended.
remain
Pun
up on the upper deck or on the ship in the front. Those that have to do duty there do it, and other than that, everybody else is staying below decks just because of the stench that gets stronger through the night. It becomes evening of the first day of pursuit. Marduk invites you to his cabin for supper. And just like your very first night that you were with Marduk, he's once again got some planks laid out on the ground, and he's sitting on the ground cross-legged with you. And supper is brought in for all of you to eat. And he asks you if you have any questions about the future plans or what you think you need, that kind of thing.
Oh, what can we expect? Like pretty much the same, but ×3 sort of thing?
Do you mean as far as the battle goes, or what are you talking about?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Because we got 10 ships we're up against.
I know, and
I see
we
what you're
attacked, or sorry, 3 attacked us previously.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, like, will it be more of the same, just in greater volume?
So Marduk nods and he says, this time we wanted this time when we sprung our trap, we wanted them to come in close. We wanted them to come and attempt to board us because we needed to get hold of those ships. That was our plan. And it was a risk for us, even though we knew that we had the same numbers as the number of ships, maybe a little less than the number of ships that came after us, which is why we purposely disabled the one so that we know that we would only have the crews of 2 ships to fight to try and board. And our plan worked, but we did lose a couple of our crew doing it, right? So there's always that risk. It's going to be a different strategy in the next battle. We do not want them to get close to us because they have got numbers and they could easily swarm us because it is 10-1. And even though our ship is of a size that's 3 times the size of one of their longboats, or maybe a little more, when you add up all of the numbers, they could swarm us if they all especially tried to approach at the same time and grapple. And we would be like being taken down as a large, powerful beast, like a mastodon or a bear or something, by a pack of wolves. And that is exactly the strategy that I know they will try and employ with us. This is why we want them to be distracted and already involved in the very initial raid on the Eridu city, because then they are engaged and they can't break away. So we are going to try and keep distance the whole time. You've got a question, Percy.
I have a question regarding tactics. In most fleets, there is one command ship. So would we be able to figure out which ship is the command ship? If they're going to protect the command ship and the other ships are going to go forward to the front, would it be reasonable to assume that we could sneak up behind the command ship and attack that one, particularly causing disorientation?
Their command ship will be a ship that's in the rear or in the center. It will have probably at least one guard ship alongside of it.
Okay.
Then most of the other ships will be engaged with raiding, with at least 3 of the ships trying to actually engage and raid Eridu City. Now, what you need to remember about Eridu City, like all of our cities, is that it does have sky docks. And what the raiders will be trying to do is take the city unawares. This is not a large enough force to take that city. What they're trying to do is they're trying to take the city unawares so that they can raid the ships that are docked at the city and perhaps steal some of them.
But I know that there's nobody of Quacksalver's order in the city.
No, there's not.
But would it be reasonable to assume that there is other wizards capable of scrying?
There may be, and they may know that the attack is coming.
Well, I'm just wondering if we could warn those wizards that had that prescience, that ability.
You cannot. The problem is that they can look, but they cannot receive. Unless you've got something like Lavinia's crystal ball that's attuned
Right.
to another ball for two-way communication. And Quillius doesn't have that with any of the occupants of Eridu City. So Eridu
if
City...
you put her in a paper airplane and threw her in... throw her.
No, not going to happen.
She-
So Marduk finishes explaining his strategy to you.
Okay.
And his strategy is that they will try and keep distance so that none of the ships can board him. That is why you are being armed, just as the rest of his sailors will be armed, with lightning lances, and they will be using the lightning cannons. And they will not stop moving. They will try to, instead of stopping in one place, they will try to keep moving and circling the outside of the Viking wolf pack to pick off those ships or damage them. And once if they're successful, he believes one of two things is going to happen. As a matter of fact, he's sure what's going to happen is they're only going to be willing to lose so many ships before they're going to break off and flee. So his goal is going to be to destroy as many ships and kill as many of the Aesir as he can. But he expects that probably at least half of their longboats will get away, because those boats are fast. This is one of the trade-offs. His ship is powerful, but it is not as fast as a Viking longboat. It cannot be. Those boats are built to be as fast as possible. And so they will be trying to get away as quickly as they can if they find that they are losing the battle. The other thing is that they will have some of the raiders on those boats. Those boats are built to be able to be operated by only a crew of 4 or 5. They will have a full crew on them of at least 20 to 30, because those other raiders will be trying to raid and take boats that are at the sky dock of Eridu to get away. Boats of any size. If they can get a big boat that's got a big cluster powering it, they would love to do that. But they will also, if those pickings are slim, they will go for a smaller boat with a smaller cluster that will at least operate one of their Viking longboats. So that is what his plan is, and that's what he explains to you about what's going to happen. This is why everything's going to be fought at distance, and the lightning cannons are going to make a big difference, as well as all of your lightning lances.
How can we best contribute to what's going on?
How can you best contribute? Well, your practice was pretty good today. I'm going to ask the carpenter to make up another set of practice lances for tomorrow for you, because hopefully you're going to be able to do some damage. These lightning lances that you're going to be throwing do not do the amount of damage that one of our full-size lightning lances do. They only do half the damage that it does. But a well-placed lance that hits in the right place, even at half damage, that's going to add up as we try and hit these boats.
Can we learn where the best places to try and target our lances would be?
He says, absolutely. The hulls of those boats, the center of the hull is a good spot, but the mast is even better.
What is the Vikings' distance of attack? Like, what are their aggressive weapons capable of?
Well, because they are built to be raiders, they are going to be trying always to close distance and get right in as close as they can. They've got some ballistas and they've got some catapults. Those ballistas and catapults will fire flaming pitch boulders, or they will fire flaming pitch ballista bolts. That's what they'll be shooting, because they do not have very many lightning weapons, but their chief may have some type of magical lightning weapon that he will be using.
Now, when we get into range, will Marduk at some point say, the jig is up? Will they man the Viking vessel and use that in the attack?
No, they will abandon the Viking vessel because it doesn't have any long-ranged stuff other than maybe a ballista that they could fire.
we
It's going to be a
drove-
fire and forget.
What if we flew the damaged ships into the sides of the other Viking ships?
That's not a bad idea.
Marduk's eyes light up and he's like, yes, I never thought of it, but a fire ship.
Fire ship. If we put enough
Yes.
explosives on them and drove it into the side of another ship,
Or just lit on
Into the
fire.
center.
just lit on fire. Yeah.
Here's the one thing that we need to do that. You need somebody to pilot that ship. And that means that whoever pilots that ship has got to bail overboard at the last minute and be able to get away.
Tethered to the main ship and just go swinging.
That would be a very, very long rope. But I'm
Yeah.
wondering,
Like one attached to a basket.
like one attached to a basket, or what's a crazier idea is if somebody could summon a creature who was capable of intelligence.
Like a flying creature?
Yeah, that could pilot the ship.
No, none of my creatures are that smart.
Okay. And what about if could we now the gentleman that we are with, the tribe that we are with, how would they survive a fall from the ship?
Well,
Would they have any techniques or any methods for surviving a fall?
how high up are these ships from the
Well-
ground?
10,000 feet approximately.
10,000 feet?
No, you're lower down than that.
Okay, so
You're several hundred feet above the earth.
Okay, so a feather fall scroll would allow you to fall 60 feet per round. So you could get 600 feet of drop and not die.
Marduk says that he's going to discuss the idea with Obaz because he thinks probably what they can do is basically a launch and forget. They will launch the ship in the direction that it needs to go.
Mhm.
They will set the fire to it, launch it in the direction that it needs to go. When they get close enough that they know that their target cannot avoid the collision, then he himself personally will pilot that ship on a tether and jump off the ship right after he launches it, because all he needs to do is get it going in the right direction. And before his tether length runs out, and before his tether length runs out, and hopefully the ship is close enough that the other ship cannot avoid the collision.
it's a damn good idea, by the way.
The other thing he says is that it's going to be very important if we do this that we hit the fleet from the side, because we cannot be launching that ship with the possibility that it passes through the fleet somehow
Yeah.
and hits the walls of the city.
Yeah.
It's got to be a situation where if it misses 100%, that it just continues to sail forward until it loses momentum off into the sky. And then later it'll be derelict and we can retrieve it at leisure. So he says, that's a good idea. What I'm going to have Obaz do is measure out how far a tether we can safely have. And we might give it a try.
Okay. Excellent.
And we're probably going to actually I'm going to try practicing it a couple of times tomorrow if I get time in the evening, depending on how soon. If we're able to complete this before we find the fleet, as I said, we're dragging our heels a little bit. We are not going at full steam because we do not want to catch up to them too soon. At the same time, we do not want them to complete their raid and for it to be successful and be gone from Eridu before we get there. So it's a very tricky, tight thing, but I've got a pretty good idea what our distance to Eridu is, give or take half a day. So I've got a pretty good estimate, and I think that at worst, we may come to the battle late and it's already been underway for 3 or 4 hours. Ideally, we're going to come to the battle just as it is joined, or just within an hour of it being joined. Now, our alarm has gone off because it is 9:19, I mean, and we're going to wind down here. So you've had your confab. You've got one more day of practice, more or less. It might only be a half a day. But Marduk estimates that it's going to be closer to evening on the next day that you may see the Viking fleet.
The enemy fleet, yeah.
Any other things you guys want to add before we wrap up for tonight? And then we'll discuss plans for the next game.
Should we be adding our spears to our inventory, or
For the next game, I'll set up what we're going to do for our targets practice and have it all ready to go. And if there's anything that needs to be in your character sheets for it, I'll get that set up too.
okay?
Okay,
Thank you.
good. All right.
What a great game! Thank you.
It's fun.
Well, I really wish I thought of this ahead of time, but at least we got to do it. It's fun.
That's so much fun.
So, as far as gaming, how's next Wednesday for everybody? Are we all good to go?
So far, so good.
Okay, so that's going to be our plan, unless there's unforeseen circumstances like last week. We will be shooting for next week. We'll be back here, same time, same station, next Wednesday night.
Same Wilder time, same Wilder channel.
That's right.
So
we want
tune
to
in
thank
next
everybody who has watched us or catches up with this video later
yeah,
on.
thanks to
Thank you.
our friend the Pink Captain, Sugarberries, Ion Eyes, and Pete. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us and joining us in chat. And have
And
a
if
great
you
night.
if you have a D20, you should bring it along, because when we're doing these things, you can roll a dice yourself to see how far your
See how
spear
far
would
your
go.
spear goes and whether you hit the guy in the groin or not.
Yeah.
The other thing that we would welcome is if you guys have any questions that you want me to find an answer for you as GM, you can either post them on one of our recorded videos in the comments, and I'll try and have a look and make sure I watch for that, and on any of our live streams. Josephine, Amanda is watching the stream, and she'll record the question so that I can give you an answer in our next episode.
We do have a Facebook page too.
Yes,
If anything
that's
comes
right.
up, it's just the Wilders game on Facebook, and you can come message us there if you ever want.
So questions about a particular character's history, or someplace we've been, something we've done in the story, those kinds of things, or a question about one of the races or cultures that we've been encountering and why things are the way they are in this world. Usually I have an answer, and if I don't, I'll figure it out.
So it's going to be super exciting next episode. So everybody tune in for the aerial battle to end all aerial battles.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Everybody have a good night.
Thanks.
Night.
Good night.
Night. The aerial battle to end all.